Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this session discussing the Netherlands' good practice in incubation development and implementation. And to discuss this, we have with us the ambassador of the Netherlands in Athens. Lady Ambassador, good evening and welcome.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm very well, and I hope the same for you. It's been trying times, but I think we're coping, and particularly here in Greece, we're coping well, I think.
Exactly. It's good to be here.
Thank you very much for doing this. We started this conference with the idea of providing a context that would discuss innovation and we could learn from best practices from other parts of the world, which we could apply to Thessaloniki and help it grow as the center that it's starting to become. Now, I have to admit that today, having listened to the other sessions, I've been blown away by some of the gold nuggets that I've heard, and I think we'll need to transcribe the discussions that have passed so that we learn from each word that the previous speakers have said. It's been tremendous, and I'm really looking forward to our session, particularly because I'm impressed by what Holland has done. I mean, out of you saw we spoke about innovation districts, and 2 out of 3 were in Holland, Rotterdam and Eindhoven.
Right.
And on top of that, I researched a little bit Orange Grove, which was also impressive. Started back in 2013, and perhaps later on we can discuss a little bit about that.
Yes, absolutely. So
let me start with the first question, which is the following. Given the fact that the EU is lagging behind the US and China in innovation, are you satisfied with the strategy and the programs the EU puts in place for advancing research and innovation in the following years?
Well, thank you, Mr. Bakatselos, for giving me the floor and for having me at this forum, the Future Thinking Dialogues. It's a very inspiring title, I must say, and it means that I'm all the more honored and flattered to be part of this. Before I answer your question, maybe it would be good to take you through a few things that have happened in the Netherlands. But even before that, I would once again like to say that it's really great, and I want to compliment you and AmCham and everybody who is involved in this forum, that you have decided to do this conference at this point in time, when of course it has been so hard over the past year and a half to think about anything really, let alone think about the future. Clearly, Corona has made it so hard to think even a few moments ahead, or even, as was my personal experience at some points, to think about or to remember what life was like just a little over a year ago. So, but having said that, and it's great to see that Thessaloniki is doing this, I think that there is optimism in the air, as you just commented. Things are possible today that a few months or even just a few weeks ago we didn't consider possible. So that really, I think, gives us the right inspiration for this conference. And as I shared already with you and your listeners or followers yesterday on LinkedIn, the key to the question that you raised, namely, how we work, live, and cooperate in the future, is, in my view, innovation. And that brings me to answering your questions. More precisely, I would like to focus on 2 subjects. Firstly is how innovation in the Netherlands is stimulated, and specifically what the role of the government is in this. And secondly, since you referred to Orange Grove, I would like to focus on how we exchange knowledge with Greece about this. So when it comes to the Dutch government's approach on innovation, in the Netherlands, an important element is really the underpinning belief that the public sector has a role to play. And this, in turn, is very strongly linked to our perception that innovation can help us address different challenges that confront our societies, be they social, economic, financial, or climatic. And of course, we embrace innovation because we believe it offers opportunities and because entrepreneurs and especially innovative companies contribute to economic growth and high quality employment. But at the same time, what we really would like to focus on is indeed in what way innovation can help us address the challenges of the future. So this is why we have developed policies that enable various tax benefits, innovation credits or subsidies, among which certainly are also the European funds such as Horizon, which is a very known one. And clearly these policies make it easier and faster for innovative entrepreneurs to bring their new products to a market or to find new ways to tap into international markets. But at the same time, once again, we see a very strong link between supporting innovation on the one hand and stimulating companies to develop innovative products to address social challenges in a different and preferably innovative way. And this really means that we combine innovation with impact. And to put it in a way more generally, we want to make our planet more livable and more sustainable through innovation. And that really is the key priority. If you look at it this way, it means that we see innovation not only as a goal in itself, but as a means also to achieve other, much more far-reaching objectives, such as, and I'll just give you a few examples, longer years of a healthy life, less greenhouse gas emissions, of course, but also plenty of clean water and safe food, affordable and sustainable energy, and at the end of the day, a safe country, a safe Netherlands to live in. And key technologies such as photonics and artificial intelligence play a central role, of course, in this. So through research institutions and in cooperation with innovative entrepreneurs, the Netherlands is aiming to provide solutions to global challenges in these specific areas. And we are, of course, very happy that our policies have led to the Netherlands being an innovation leader in the EU. More specifically, we are one of the 5 countries that have been labeled as such, based on the European Innovation Scoreboard 2020 of the European Commission. And this scoreboard compares the innovative strength of EU countries on, among other things, public-private cooperation, but also digitization, the impact of innovation by SMEs, and investments in research and developments. And I think what was, by the way, interesting for your audience to mention is also that Greece is one of the countries that made the largest increase in performance in 2020. Just to give you a few more figures and data before I come to your question. So concrete examples of how we are trying to implement these policies focused on innovation. We have signed, that is the Netherlands government has signed with 2,200 companies, but also knowledge institutions and local governments, a knowledge and innovation covenant, which means that we invest almost 5 billion euros in economic and social opportunities and key technologies. And out of this amount, 3 billion comes from public funding and 2 billion from private investments. But we have also developed a national science agenda through which or within which we have identified themes on which science should focus in the coming years. So the question there is really, what are the upcoming and promising challenges for Dutch science? And how can science contribute to solutions for social issues, again, and economic opportunities through innovation? And last but not least, we've also made extra money available for innovative SMEs through the Future Fund. And this fund started in 2018 with 200 million euros. And the Dutch state is now adding annually 5 million to this. One very interesting example of how this works out in practice is Brainport Eindhoven. So there you see that the national government, together with Brainport Eindhoven and the province of Noord-Brabant, has drawn up a Brainport National Action Agenda, which consists of priorities such as a better connection between education and business, but also investing in new technologies and the further improvement of Brainport Eindhoven as a place of business. And this region, as some of the viewers or listeners may know, is really known for developing 3D printing, but also their photonics and robotics, among other things. And I know that you have a representative of the high-tech campus in Eindhoven among your participants, Mr. Kees Admiraal. So I'm sure that he can elaborate further on his experiences or the experiences that how this works, how we develop such a concept. So that was really to give you an overview of what the Dutch government is doing. The policy of my embassy in Athens, the Dutch embassy in Athens, is really to try and share as much of the experience that I mentioned up till now with Greece. And this is really not, and I would like to underline that, because we think that we know better, but really because we have acquired experience over the years through, on the one hand, initiatives that have worked out well, but also through mistakes that we have made. And this is where we like to indeed work together with Greece, share our experiences. And in this regard, I would like to just highlight two initiatives that we have really worked on, that my embassy staff has worked on over the past few months, and that we will continue in the years ahead. And this is indeed where, as you mentioned, Orange Grove comes in. The initiative that was launched several years ago during the time of the financial and economic crisis, which was really meant for young, innovative entrepreneurs. So in the last few years, in the last 2 years, I should say, Orange Grove, basically also accelerated by the whole corona crisis and the pandemic that hit us all, has turned into a fully digital countrywide incubator. Apart from the incubation programs, which are cross-sector, and that, of course, we will continue to offer, since they are really at the core of the work that Orange Grove has been doing, or even as we say, it's the Orange Grove DNA. We've also expanded to 2 more fields, which are interesting in the context of this conference. I also listened to the previous speaker who was addressing this, and the first one is our new project, Entrepreneurial University, which is a series of masterclasses that we have set up together with the Amsterdam Center for Entrepreneurship, and which aims at sharing the experience and knowledge of this Amsterdam Center for Entrepreneurship in the area of teaching in universities, innovation and entrepreneurship, creating entrepreneurial ecosystems around universities and setting up tech transfer offices. We do this together with the Greek Ministry of Education and Religious Affairs. And I think it's a very good example of sharing experiences and creating, building on that, new networks and common projects between, in this case, universities in Greece and in the Netherlands. And secondly, I should also mention in this regard our cooperation with Wageningen University and research, which concerns the area of agri-food technology, with a big component of sustainability. And one part of this cooperation, again, is sharing knowledge and expertise with agri-food and tech entrepreneurs through our programs at Orange Grove. The other component is an extensive communication and cooperation with the Ministry of Agriculture, with whom we are currently running a number of initiatives in the area of knowledge exchange. So I think with what I just said, I have in a way already answered your question also regarding the comparison between the EU on the one hand and the US and China on the other, basically by indicating I'm optimistic. I wouldn't dispute with your the first part of your question, saying that maybe in recent years we've lagged behind, but I think that we have become aware of the importance of innovation and also research, and you see it by the sheer basically by the sheer amount of money and prioritization that is now given to innovation and research. And of course, this was needed because certainly we see what is happening in the US and in China. But I think with the amount of attention that is now being paid within the EU to this topic, it will ensure that we are better prepared for the future. And I should say this will also help us deliver the European Green Deal, which is of course a very central focus of this innovation efforts. And if you look at the budgets that are proposed in the context of Horizon Europe, you will definitely see that this is a very powerful accelerator to achieve environmental and digital transformation of the EU. So that was a very long answer to your question.
But a very thorough one, and I thank you for that. I think you've covered everything. Let me just say congratulations on your ranking. And, you know, listening to you, I've realized one thing. Things don't just happen. They happen because there's a plan. And I think that what you have succeeded in doing was the result of a meticulous plan, which was implemented correctly, and you continue to implement. So, congratulations! You've covered everything I could ask you. I want to ask you one thing. Through the work that you do through Orange Grove, you come into contact with many of the Greek startups. Where do you think that the Greek startups need the most help? What do you think, what do you believe are their strengths? And do you see the right talent available in Greece? And having said that, the right talent available in Greece, you know that one of the most important issues that we're tackling is the brain drain. So we're doing everything in our power to reverse that. And I think this is why Thessaloniki, being this new center for innovation, this digital hub in our country is so important, because it has the makings of something that could reverse this brain drain. So I'll restate the question because I've stayed away from it. Where do you think that the Greek startups need the most help? What do you believe are their strengths? And do you see the right talent available in Greece?
To start with the strengths, what we see really, and what we've seen throughout the years, is first of all, and I'm not saying it just because you are there and listening, but because we really see a lot of hardworking and very highly educated people who also have, and of course this is key when you are talking about startup, great ideas. What in addition makes the young Greek people that we've come to know through Orange Grove specific is that they're also very resilient. They're courageous and creative, but the resilience, I think, stands out. And this is, of course, explained through the fact that many of them have started their businesses or their working life during a heavy economic crisis, so in difficult times. Actually, and very unfortunately, some of them, when they started flourishing, actually were hit by the second or another crisis, namely, of course, the one that was caused by the coronavirus. So the resilience stands really out, and the ability to deal with, you know, hard times and setbacks. What those people that are so ambitious and so eager to make things change, what is their biggest need is sometimes very different, to be honest. In some cases, what we see through the workshops that we have or the master classes that we do is that they sometimes might lack simply certain business skills, or sometimes they just need a little bit of thinking with us to find their niche market. They need to find out who really is their client actually, and what is the business model that they need to apply, or and not unimportantly, how do you actually make money from that business idea that you have. But often what we also see is that they need help with the branding of their products, and this is where Orange Grove can play certainly a very big role too, they need contacts abroad in order to start selling their products elsewhere. So I'm saying this to really show you it really differs from business to business. But I think one of the important riches that Orange Grove brings is really the enormous network that we have now established. And as I mentioned earlier, that network is actually more easy to be tapped into because it has been all digitized by now. You can find it on this one platform. And of course, and I would like to conclude or to come back to what you said, indeed, the idea is, and that is absolutely crucial for me, you want to show the young Greek generation that there are opportunities, there are chances, and that may be the one thing that was lacking so much during the years of the economic and financial crisis, that perspective. And this, of course, is needed now in order for the Greek people to actually to want to come back, which would be so important for the future of this country.
Lady Ambassador, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for doing all this fantastic work through Orange Grove, and please continue doing it.
Yes.
It's necessary. We like to think that the Thessaloniki Future Thinking Dialogues will continue, and we'd like to have you back. It's my hometown, so I extend a personal invitation to you to come to Thessaloniki, and we will host you very gladly. Thank you so much.
I will keep I will stick you to that promise. I would love to be able in the years ahead to come to Thessaloniki, because of course what I regret, even though I'm very happy to be participating today, is that I cannot be there in person, and I would really like to be able to do that. So keep my name on your mailing list.
We will fix it next time.
Absolutely.
So,
thank you.
Really, the invitation is out there. Please take advantage. We will be waiting for you here.
Ευχαριστώ πολύ.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye. Γεια σας.
Bye.